China has a plan called the 1,000-year war. Or at least that's what we call China's plan, meaning they are not committed to instant gratification the way that, well, even American politics are. I'm not talking about on an individual basis here. I'm talking about in the larger political scene. They don't care if they subvert the United States next year. They're not like the radical left here in the United States where they want their policies implemented now, not 1 year from now, not 2 years from now, but right now. No, the Chinese are willing to be patient and to wait and to make sure that they have laid the groundwork so that when they do get to that tipping point, everything in the United States is completely subverted and China is poised to win. China is poised to lead. China is poised to come out on top while the United States falls. So we've seen the way that China has infiltrated our society. We've seen how China controls some of our biggest corporations. We've seen Hollywood co-opted by the Chinese, where movies coming out of Hollywood have had to self-censor if they want to play the movies in the Chinese market. And this censorship doesn't just happen after the movie has been produced and a scene or a word or something is censored or bleeped out of the movie. No, this is censorship that happens before the movies are even made, before the scripts are even written, before the movie has even been filmed, before the actors have even been hired. China has this grip on Hollywood. And it's not just censorship, it's also the insertion of Chinese propaganda portraying Chinese communists and Chinese government officials in a certain way, in a non-negative, just positive way. That is a breeding ground for someone to feel positively towards the Chinese communist ideology. That's what China's doing here in the United States. They also control a large chain of movie theaters here in our country, which gives them more control over what they want you either not to see or what they want you to be subjected to. So either censorship or propaganda. China also, in a sense, controls the NBA. The NBA wants to play games in China. They have an enormous market for their merchandise in China. And so we saw exactly what happened with the Houston Rockets when their general manager, Daryl Morey, called out China for their actions in Hong Kong. LeBron James wouldn't even criticize the Chinese communists or the awful, atrocious human rights violations that the Chinese communists commit every day, particularly against the Uyghur Muslims, a religious minority in China. We see this on college campuses. China has opened Confucius Institutes at college campuses all across our country. What are Confucius Institutes? They're dedicated to educating or indoctrinating the American public, particularly American youth at colleges and universities, in communist ideology. It's actually shocking. Look up your alma mater. Look up the school where your child goes. Look up whether they have a Confucius Institute. If they do, that is the Chinese communists actively working to subvert the United States through your children, through our college students on campus. China also seeds our STEM field. They send foreign exchange students, Chinese students, to graduate programs here in the United States that are STEM related because they want to steal technology and scientific knowledge from the United States, both to profit, but also so that they can use that, they can weaponize that information or that technology against us. Perhaps something that, may fall into this category, perhaps like COVID, like that virus, like the coronavirus. They also steal our intellectual property. I'm talking billions and billions of dollars worth of our intellectual property. And they've been waging a trade war for a long time. They are a currency manipulator. They're trying to take advantage of us economically, make us reliant on Chinese manufacturing. We've seen just a tiny, tiny bit of the problems that causes when we rely on them, when our supply chain is so brittle that if China doesn't supply what we ask for, then we have shortages in our country. Sometimes these are shortages that are goods and services that are non-essential, not necessary, but sometimes it is necessary. Sometimes these are chips for computers or semiconductors, things that we rely on, not just for cars, but for our fighter jets, for things that are critical to our national security, to the sovereignty of our nation. So China is really committed to infiltrating our country, to subverting us from within. China wants nothing more, by the way, than to destabilize the United States economy.